The women's 10-kilometre open water race at the Paris Olympics was a thrilling and grueling event that saw Sharon Van Rouwendaal of the Netherlands and Moesha Johnson of Australia showcase extraordinary endurance and strategy. Sharon and Moesha were housemates and training partners in the lead up to the Olympics. And I wanted to find out, did they strategize before the race to work out a plan to try and come first and second? Did they work together within the race to stop others from overtaking them? And was there anything that they did prior to the race that gave them an advantage over some of their other competitors? And what I learned on this podcast was really interesting to dig into the finer details of what goes behind Olympic silver and gold. So join me on today's podcast episode with Olympic gold and silver medalists Sharon Van Rouwendaal and Moesha Johnson. Welcome to the Effortless Swimming Podcast. Moesha, Sharon, welcome to the podcast. I was really excited to put this one together to dig into the details of the amazing race that you had over in Paris, because I haven't cheered that loudly for an open water swim event for a very long time. Seeing you girls go head to head. So welcome to the podcast, first of all.
Thank you.
So I'd love to know, just leading into the race as teammates, did you plan any sort of strategy together before the race?
Not at
Never.
all. No, we didn't really talk as much the last few days because, you know, you go into race focus and everyone keeps asking us and it was not any part of the plan.
Well, Bernd, our coach, the German coach, asked me, otherwise you team up with Moesha like a month before. And I said, well, I don't need anybody. Or I was like, no, I can swim every tactic I want. I can stay there and pass or something. So I said, I don't need anybody, and we'll see in the race. But then during the race, it was fantastic.
Did you know where each other were throughout the whole race?
Well, I knew that she was in front of me when she was leading, and I knew it was probably her behind me when I was leading. There wasn't really many people around. So, yeah, I was pretty aware where Sharon was.
Did either of you have a certain strategy going into the race, and did it play out how you thought it would?
Yeah. So in April, the Dutch coach asked me, what would be your ideal podium? And I said, well, my dream podium would be with Moesha and Tedocchi, so the Italian, because they take a lot of initiative in the race and they push it and they try and they always get passed at the end. And which I got passed after 2016. I got passed so many times and it's so frustrating. So I always appreciate women that take the lead and just go for it. I think I always swim on my feelings. Since I do open water, I swim with different plans. But the first lap I was trying, just seeing where people would go. And I found myself at place 19 for 18th in the first corner. And then it went everywhere. I knew we had to go against the wall to not get the current. And I was on position 4 from the wall. I got all the current. I got all the people in my head. It was like the hardest lap ever to swim. And so I thought, okay, this is not what we're going to do. We have to change this tactic. We have to lead because that's the easiest thing at this point. And so, well, we discussed something the day before. We checked the course. And I said, maybe it's better not to show them the good way at the finish, at the gate, because there is a good way. And that's all the way on the right side for as long as possible. And then you only cross to the gate. And then the first lap, I did my little trick against what's it called, Moesha?
The bridge pillars?
The
pillars.
Yeah. And then there's 20 meters without current. So I went from the wall to the pillar and then I went back. And then I passed like 10 or 15 people by doing that. So I found myself on position 4 all the way on the wall side, on the boat side at the gate. And I see people on the left just trying to go in the middle of the sand, in the middle, against just going to the gate straight. And I'm like, didn't you try it yesterday? And I laughed so hard and I was like, now it's getting interesting. It was so fun. I had fun in the race. And then I was already in Moesha's speed, or 3rd or 4th. I took time to drink. And then I was like, oh, here we go. I'll lead. And then I saw it's just people are struggling to follow us. And then Moesha came.
Yeah. So From my perspective of the race, I'm always told not to lead. And after we went under the bridge on the first lap, I looked to my left. I looked to my left again. I was like, oh, no one's there. I looked to my right. Oh no, I'm leading within 400 meters of the release. This is not good. I'm going to be in so much trouble. Because I just had a really good start, and I'm not as good sometimes, maybe it's sitting back. I don't know. But I didn't like the first turn, and I knew that it would be probably a bit chaotic because some people weren't going to know how to turn around that buoy. And so I wanted to be in the first little group so I could get an efficient line. But I was leading when I wasn't intending to be leading. And then obviously coming back against it, like I let the Italian girls go on that first lap. But then like Sharon, you know, we came under that bridge and no one knew where they were going because I was just going to follow. Like Sharon said, I was just going to let them lead and go their direction. But we went straight into the head-on of the current and we just stopped moving. And at some point, I think we started moving backwards. I was like, we can't do this. This is not going to work. So then I had to then cut over, and you see, like I cut back to where kind of Sharon is, and that's where Sharon got my feet again. Because then I start going up the edge of the course, and everyone, you can just see, they all start looking at me because I start moving up and I start going up. And I start going up, and then we cut across, and then people kind of figured it out, but no one really had any idea where they were kind of going. And I think me and Sharon both had a personal realization at that point is like, this is going to be a very different race, not environmentally to like the conditions we were swimming against, but maybe against our competitors, because it just seemed like everyone was a little bit scattered in their preparations for where they were going.
And is this what you figured out the day before when you got to get in there and do a bit of a test swim? Like, is this something that you had thought about in the lead up to it, or just something that you got to work out when you got to do the test swim beforehand?
So yeah, like my mother said, I hope it's not in the sand with the streaming and you're gonna get hurt or something. And I said, let it be as hard as possible. I know already like half of the women would be insecure and like, and I know I can just switch off, and even if it's hard, it's like I like it. And so the day before we could train in open water, a very weird man came with me. So the Olympic champ of 2016, and we swam together. So he swam in my feet. And then against the current, we tried a few things. So at the bridge, we tried something. We let each other go and see where the current came from, which current is stronger. So under the bridge on the left side, it's definitely stronger. It's in the middle of the sand. But we tested it out, and I did a few times that I let myself go, and again against the gate. Okay, this is not working. And I just let myself go. Okay, against the boats, against the wall. And then I was like, I think this is easier. Okay, and then there was you pass the gate, and then you have the pontoon. If you're just a little on the right side, maybe it's easier. And then I was like, I really liked it. I did 2 laps, but then I thought, oh, tomorrow it's 6. But let's see. And then I knew my biggest competitors like Anna Marcella or Leonie Beck, they didn't train. And I find that so not intelligent to not train. Like you're doing 7 or 8 hour work years long for this race, like a day per day, 7 hours a day for this race. And then the last training session, you don't do or try the course. Are you just thinking you're going to win by following me and then at the end passing me? Well, that's not going to happen. You have to train against the current. And that's what we did. And then we knew exactly where to swim.
So this was something that everyone had access to. Everyone could do this swim, but they, for whatever reason, they chose not to.
I think it's because they thought maybe they get sick.
Mm.
I think this is where, like, we're not exactly sure why they weren't there, but maybe they just let the hype of it get to them. But for us, it was the Olympics, and we wanted to prepare ourselves as best as possible. In Australia, we had a great medical team, so I felt safe to get in the water no matter what. But at the end of the day, they're not going to let you swim if the water quality is bad. So that was my thinking. It was pretty black and white. If we're allowed to swim, we swim. If not, well, then we don't.
And you took antibiotics as well, right? For prevention. Yeah, so we both took antibiotics. I think it was from Monday on for me. So Thursday was the race.
Mine was from training day on, so might have been a different one. But yeah, through my Australian Olympic Committee, I was very well cared for.
Mm. And in terms of in the swim itself, what was it like going against the current and then going with it? Like, did your effort have to change? What did it feel like for you going in either direction? Like, was it was obviously so much quicker and you could see that, but how did that feel for you in either direction?
So for me, I trained it a bit the week before. I tried to do very long, relaxing strokes. And then sometimes I tried to be like shorter, like when I was swimming in France, I was swimming, like not finishing the triceps. I was like just finishing it like this. And that's what we did. I think with the current, we swam like really long strokes. Then you're on the corner, and it was so fun actually. Like you go
was
on your
crazy.
side, and then you just do short strokes and bang you're against the wall. And like I'm not finishing my strokes, and just so I adapted my technique all the time. And I think it showed like I can just have a sprint. I can have a slow swimming. I can like swim good technique wise. I can swim short. I think this was everything together over the last 10 years fell together on this race for me. And I think for Moesha, it was just great that we can just break away, because it's so hard to break away sometimes. And now we break away because of the current.
Yeah, what was it like for you, Moesha, with firstly with like being a bit of a surprise, being out in the front leading when you weren't necessarily trying to, but you just find yourself there. Like in your mind, your race strategy's not gone out the window, but it's like, okay, this isn't what I was expecting. What's it like for you when you're at the front leading, going, okay, do I stay out here? Do I just like wait for someone to pass? Like, where was your head at when you found yourself out there?
Yeah, so in terms of like, where I was sitting in the race, I always try and pull back a little bit. And once Sharon took the lead and I was sitting behind her, I really used that opportunity to see what was happening behind us. So I kept looking back. I knew Sharon would, I could trust her sighting and all that. So I was having a look back at the girls, and there were some really distinct points in which the group would stretch, break, and then come back together, and stretch and break and come back together. So I think it was around lap. You led 2 laps or something, 3 laps.
Until 3.
Yeah, and so around lap number 3, I thought to myself, okay, like I'm going to try and stretch it out and maybe just reduce the amount of leading girls, and then maybe sit back again and then do it again, because my strength is just like I have quite a high aerobic level. I can hold a higher pace. It just sometimes it's heavy, so I have to be careful. And so I pushed it out, and then because it was the river, they had the TV screen on the side of the river for the audience, and I could actually see that we were breaking away. So I decided not to slow down. I was like, well, I'm comfortable at this pace, and if it's just going to break away to just the 3 of us like it was looking on the screen, well, then I can hold this pace all day. But if there was a group of maybe 10 girls, it might have been different. So I actually used the TV screen a lot in my race. It was the best thing ever, because normally, that's the hardest thing. You don't know that you're breaking away, so you get insecure maybe, and you don't push away with confidence. But that for me was definitely part of it, and I felt strong and comfortable and fit the entire way. And I think even towards the end when I don't even know, picked up the pace when I look at the splits. But I felt comfortable in the current, and I think my feeling in the current was definitely a little bit different to how Sharon described even. Like I just felt the same with the current and against the current. It just felt like the water might have felt a little different because you were moving with it. But, we swim in a flume, so my brain was kind of already a little adjusted to that water moving feeling. But it was just the top turn and the bottom turn, like the feeding station and the bottom one that you just, you had to pick it up and whatnot. But it was kind of fun.
What I really liked is that the 3rd lap you took over, and I was still drinking. Like it came in your feet, and
you had
saw
a great drink.
There's position. There was like 10-meter gap with the 4th, and then I was like, I wanted to like my arms came into your legs in between, and I wanted to like make contact with you, like this is the moment now, like. And then we paced it up, but you turned around, but I couldn't say anything. But I think you knew like this is. I was like, okay, now we have to go. And then we turned the corner, and actually there we paced already. 3rd lap with the stream, we paced. So it was not like, and then we turned the corner, and then there was like a 20-second gap. So like a 10-second gap against the current maybe. And that's where things were decided, I guess. Yeah.
That's interesting to hear that you could get a sense of what you were thinking. And I mean, surely some of that's got to come down to living together, training together. Like you get a really good sense of one another, and then you're spending all day just swimming, up and down with each other. You probably get a pretty good idea of those sorts of things. Do you feel like that came into play in the race?
My goal is to defend the place, so I also defend Mo. So, and the thing is, if I'm second, nobody is allowed to pass me, but is also not allowed to pass Mo. So I make it sure that the third doesn't pass us. And sometimes I give a little, like, we have to go a little faster, and I look around for us. Like, I look around a lot to check if they're coming back or not. And otherwise, I would give more like tapping on the feet or something. Yeah. So this last lap, Mo was a little on the right side. We could have gone more in the sand to get more streaming. The Italian went and paced, I think, everything she got to try to pass us. And my position was on the hold there because she was on my level already. Like Mo was in front, I was here, she was there. And I was like, okay, I'm going to trust Mo. Let's go. And Mo, come on, I need to go faster. I want to get to second spot when we turn over there. And so I put more pressure on her, but I defend the feet as well. So not that if somebody would be on my hip, I would do everything to get second. So Mo is still first. I think that describes a little bit our...
Yeah, I think but you'd do that regardless of probably even who I was a little bit as well. Because you want to hold your second position as far as I'm
lately,
aware. Yeah. And so, yeah, I don't know. I know just as athletes, so in training, we're my strengths are completely different to Sharon's strengths. And so, yeah, when it does come to racing, we both just swim to what strengths are. And obviously we know what each other's strengths in the race are. And it just plays
But we
out.
don't bother each other. Like at the finish, we don't take each other's hip or anything. It's a fair swim or fair swim, but the faster swimmer wins.
We're just we're like a clean race because it can get quite ugly sometimes.
Like when I passed her from 1.5 meters away, if I would pass her here, I would slow her down and the Italian would have been on my feet or maybe on her feet. So I passed her like here. Yeah, that's the difference.
And because you feel it when someone's on your hip, don't you? Like it's heavy. It can really slow you down. Yeah. And so, Moesha, for you, like leading those last couple of laps, I was rooting for you, wanting you to get that second place once Sharon was in the lead. And I thought, I don't know how you're going to hang on because you've just led the last 3 laps or so of the race. Did you feel like quite heavy at that point? Like how were you in the last 200-300 meters? This podcast is proudly brought to you by Form Smart Swim Goggles. The Smart Swim 2 is the next generation of Form's award-winning augmented reality technology. They have an integrated heart rate monitor for constant real-time heart rate monitoring, which allows you to accurately train your heart rate zones, which is the first time that you can do this in the pool. Something we've had when biking and running, but the first time that you can now do it in the pool. Another huge feature that they have released is the Swim Straight feature. This is something that allows you to swim in a straight line without needing to sight. It's a digital compass in the goggle display, and it's race approved by World Triathlon, USA Triathlon, as well as other leading race organizers. And athletes are already shaving valuable time off their swims by swimming straighter. I'm a huge fan of these goggles. I've used them for the last couple of years, and it's something that I use each and every week. And even just the simplest features of being able to see your splits after every turn makes a huge difference to not only the way that you train, but the enjoyment that you can have in the pool. And the new Smart Swim 2 has a reduced tech pack size by 15%, making them slightly smaller. The new eye seals fit a wider variety of facial structures, and the new straps and anchor points have been moved and adjusted so that it has a more stable fit. There's additional features which I haven't mentioned, like the head coach workouts, training plans, as well as integrations with Training Peaks, Strava, and more. This is something for all abilities and levels of swimmer, and available worldwide from formswim.com/effortless. And to get 10% off the Smart Swim 1 goggles, use the code EFFORTLESSWIM on checkout. That's formswim.com/effortless and use the code EFFORTLESSWIM on checkout for 10% off the Smart Swim 1 goggles.
Well, I obviously, like, coming under the bridge, I knew, because I was coming in first at that point, and then I knew under the bridge that Sharon would go the way that I didn't choose to try and pass me, because that was the best passing point. And then, from there, I just, I was just like, tried to swim my decision. I didn't probably practice it as well as Sharon did. I stuffed it up the lap before, sorry. And I was like, I'm not doing that move again. I ran into the edge of the course. So, I came in swimming and I just wanted to go strong into it. But it was really hard to decide if I, should sprint with, try and keep my spot in front of Sharon, because the current was so strong. It's like 100 meters could feel like 250 meters, And so you had to be really careful with choosing your timing on things. And, once Sharon got the lead, I was like, just sit on her feet and just, see what you've got for the last couple 100 meters. And, Sharon's got that speed at the end that I'm still trying to develop. And I knew the Italian was there. And, once she kind of came into the finishing chute, I was like, she can't pass me now, because we have a very, very similar 1500, very similar last 100 of the 1500. So I knew that I had locked in my silver medal.
And Sharon?
Yeah. For me, I did the tactic where I go on the bridge on the left, on the left behind the pillar, the first lap, the second lap. And then I followed Mo. No, on the third lap, I didn't do it on purpose to see if I just go against the wall on the boat. And then Mo was in front, and Mo did it the fourth lap and the fifth lap. No, fourth lap, she did the side. Fifth lap, she jumped over to the bridge. And I didn't, on purpose, to make her think this would be the faster way.
That thought didn't even cross my mind, though. I just crashed, and I was like,
sixth lap, I made her, for me, I thought I made her insecure. She goes on the right side. I take the left one.
No, honestly,
but I also
for me,
put more pressure.
Yeah.
But for me, this was the tactic as well. I thought, if Mo goes to the left, I'll go to the right the lap before, just to make her think maybe it's even fast enough. But I pushed a little more when I go into the right.
No, for me, that wasn't even my thinking. I just crashed and I was like, I shouldn't do that again. Let's go with the safe option and just try and be strong.
It's a safe option.
Yeah,
that's why.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw it, but I ran. When I crossed over, I just got my angle wrong and I ran straight into the edge, and I panicked. And I was like, oh no, they might think I pulled on the edge. And I didn't. I just fully ran into it and my arm got stuck. And I was like, just a bit wobbly or something. And I was like, okay, no, that's it. No.
It can go wrong. It can go wrong pretty quick. So because you come again, you don't have current. And then all of a sudden you have a lot of current, but you have to choose your position. And Mo did it once and then went against the wall.
I just went angled too sharp. And then I don't even know what happens. It was just okay, that's it. No more.
Do you find in terms of race strategy compared to most open water swims, because you've got to stick to the side, that you don't have these bigger packs necessarily forming, 3, 4, 5 across. It was just really 1 or 2. There wasn't often many 3 across, because as you said, Sharon, you could really feel that. So was that quite different for you compared to most races that you're in?
Yeah, so when I started with open water, I was like, Mo, I'm just going to swim in front and pace. I'm super good at pacing. And then all of a sudden people pass me and go in my hip. And then I was like, why is it so heavy? So this was my favorite race ever, because this is the race I dreamed of. Just break away and do it on your own and not on the hip. And of course, the last years I've got experience to swim on somebody's hip and you can hold the person back. I know how to do that now. But it was just to show that also we're the fastest swimmers now. And I think now I was the full package swimmer. I could do the pacing, I can do the sprint, I can hold back, I can take somebody's hip. So it showed now I'm good in open water swimming. And that was for me everything. This was my dream race. And to do it with those 2 girls was fantastic.
And Moesha, for you, your first Olympic medal, the highest that any Australians ever placed in an open water event at the Olympics. How was it for both of you crossing that finish line when you've got all this build up? Because I can only imagine the pressure that is put on from other people, that you put on yourself, the amount of work that goes into it, and then to finally cross the finish line and just see that look of joy, relief on your faces. It was amazing to see. So what did it feel like for both of you crossing that finish line?
I think for me, it's going to be very different to Sharon because I was the underdog. I was the dark horse. I wasn't in any predictions whatsoever. Like I believed in myself that I could do it, but I'm still developing my open water experience. So, I just had to, I had to get an individual podium, and I didn't know whether it would be this year or in the years to come, but that was my goal. But yeah, definitely this race, like Sharon said, I enjoyed it because we were battling the conditions of the course, the environment, not the pack of girls around us. So you actually just got to put your training on display, in my opinion. And I think that was how it showed in the end. It was your training, tactical, your endurance, your speed, all the things that Sharon mentioned. And you didn't have the big pack of girls that, that were holding or pulling you back or bumping into each other. And yeah, so I think, it was definitely a race that to get my first international medal individually at an Olympics, it was unbelievable. And obviously with Australia being on such a different time zone, the amount of public back home who actually got the chance to watch my sport, sometimes it's a bit of an underrated sport, and it's just been fantastic. The support and the messages, and just even the people still today who are coming up to me and just talking about the iconic swim that I did. And yeah, I think, it's definitely been a bit of a journey. I've done a bit of an alternative route as an Australian swimmer to get here. So yeah, it was definitely a fantastic feeling on that finishing line. Like, I've actually done it. My big decisions that, might have been debated at the time, like, they've paid off. So for me, it was like I only had the pressure that I put on myself going into that race. I didn't have anyone else's pressure. I don't think even the commentary knew who I was until halfway through the race. Like, I think they didn't know what to say. Like, my mum just kept saying, I think they handed him notes on you halfway through the race because suddenly all these facts came out, So
Yeah.
I had a very different probably thing to what Sharon's going to explain.
Well, so for me, I was two-time world champ in Doha. I think we had a very hard time in December, both of us. And that's where I went to my parents for a few days. And then I was like, why am I still doing this? I hate it. Like, I don't have to do this. Like, there's where there's on 1/10, your touch is not good. You lose on 1/10, and then it's just annoying. So in Fukuoka, I lost on 1/10. Well, then Doha came, and then you two-time world champion, and then everything paid off. I'm always world champion on the relay. So everything went well. And yeah, then I was thinking, well, just Paris and going in as the favorite, but I don't care. Let's do it. April, I got my new house, and then I was like thinking, oh, it's everything I want. But then my dog died, and for me, that's my everything. So actually, I didn't want to swim. Moesha went with me to the Netherlands at that moment that I heard he died on my mother's lap, going into the vet because he had an operation 2 days before. And yeah, she went to the cremation with me that day. So we stopped training. She stopped training 2-3 days. And I stopped training for, I think, 8-9 days. I wasn't in the water. I didn't want to swim. Actually, I didn't care about Olympics. I don't care about medals. What's a medal compared to the love I got in my life from my dog at some point? Because a medal is just a momentum feeling. That's what I was thinking. And my dog just gave me that feeling all the time. But then my dad or like my parents say, well, you're away already 7 and 8 years because he was 7. You're already away 7 years from him. Why don't you finish it and do it for him? Because you didn't see him a lot, so it needs to be worse that you didn't see him a lot. Okay, so 3 days, 1 day after the cremation, I said I have to have something. So I got the tattoo of his paw, which we could make at the cremation on a paper, and then just showed the tattoo guy. So I had him a little bit closer to me. I got it on a necklace as well with the ash in it. And then I started to train 1 week before the World Cup in Italy, once a day. It didn't go so well. I was just swimming slow. Didn't want to. But I was with my Dutch physio and a Dutch coach, and they make me laugh a lot. Like they make jokes and try to relax me. And all of a sudden, I'm leading in that race, the last lap, and I don't know how I was leading. I was 40th somewhere. And then I just got fourth on 1 second. And I think that made me think I can still win Paris if I do a good training camp in Sierra Nevada. And there I was listening to the radio in the morning that makes me laugh as well. And just doing what I have to do. So I didn't cry anymore. I just focused on one thing, on swimming every day at least 2 times without crying or thinking of my dog. Or you think of your dog all the time, but just trying to swim. And then you get some good sessions in, stable sessions. You're still there. You still do the times from Doha. And then I said, tomorrow, 28 days for the race. I told her, and she said, what changed? I said, I got the setting again, like the mind.
You sent me a
And,
message. She's like, I'm back in Doha mode. And I was like, oh, yeah.
And
She's like, I'm not
I
losing
posted,
it now.
That's why I posted, I'm more determined than ever. And then I also, you read stuff, people say, like, they bet on, the where they say, I'm going to win, or Lady Beck's going to win, or Anna Marcella's going to win. Then you read stuff like, you can reclaim the gold. And so I didn't care about anything. Like, I could handle the pressure. But the day of the race, I felt I had so much pressure for myself, for my dog. So I was at breakfast, proud that I had my breakfast, vomited everything out. I went to the course. Well, I went to do my warm-up, tried to do a gel, some caffeine, bicarbonate, vomit everything out. That's the first time before the race I vomit. Sometimes I vomit during a race because of the race itself or something. And I'm thinking it's impossible to swim a 10K without food. That's what the doctor said to the physio after the race. Technically, it's impossible. And so then I take off my necklace and I kiss it, and then I'm starting to cry because I feel that's the pressure from the last 3 months I gave myself, because I thought, you're such an idiot. You can't even eat. How you're going to swim 10K? So you're going to lose. And now, yeah. But when I walked we walked together before the race, and I said, I'm shitting my pants. Why are we doing this? Me too. And there's a picture of us there, we talking. And then in the water, everything changed, and you never think of that breakfast again. And I think of drinking enough and taking the gels that are in my drinks. And I got everything. And I think if mentally you're prepared to do something out of your body is not, well, I don't know. I can do something in my head. That's why I can swim 2-pack for free. I think in my head, I wanted so badly that I just switch off something. And I think that's what happened. And then I'm out. And then when I touch the plate, first I turn around, I'm hanging there against the stream because I'm watch her touch. And then I'm shouting, yeah. And then I turn around all happy. And then I knew that moment would come because I planned it. If I would win someday, I would show this. But when you plan it, then you start feeling everything. And that's where all the feelings came out. And then we happy again, but it's yeah. So that was my experience. So it shows that if you have the adrenaline and the determination and maybe some angel somewhere, you can do a race, your dream race, even if your preparation for the day of the race doesn't work out.
Mm. Well, even in the lead up to it, several months out, it's not, wouldn't call it perfect preparation at all when all of that stuff happens. But I mean, I think that the mental side of things, like if you can be strong enough mentally, that has so much to do with winning or getting silver. Like that's such an important part at elite level sports, which I think you've proved. And I remember that photo, I think it's quite an
This
iconic
one,
photo now.
like, this one or the other one? This
Oh, that one, yeah. Like, it's only been maybe a month or a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
but I feel like that's a very iconic photo already. I've seen it posted so much and so often, and
Yeah.
on so many different pages. And I think it really just takes a really big event or moment in someone's life, and for them to do what you did, to make that become iconic. So that's amazing. I didn't know the backstory of it, and to hear what you went through it's amazing that you're able to do what you did. And Moesha, you weren't wrong. Very different mentalities going into the race, right? But everyone's got their own different reasons. And what's it been like since the event? I'm sure it's been a whirlwind of interviews and different things, and family and friends getting in touch. But yeah, what's it been like the last couple of weeks?
So for me, well, I had severe jet lag, I reckon, for 2 weeks. So you had jet lag, you've got, media, and then you've got family and friends wanting to catch up whilst you're trying to have a break and a holiday to recover and rejuvenate for the next 12 months because, you got to do it all again now. So for me, it's been pretty hectic, and I haven't even been trying to, I'm not even trying to put myself out there a lot, but obviously you got to take the opportunities with media and stuff when it comes because, it's on to the next very soon. But yeah, it's been a really special time. The messages and the people who have reached out to me, they've been really special messages, especially from people who've seen my journey, because my journey is a little bit different to a lot of athletes coming into the sport a bit later at a high level. And so people who saw me younger, I'm just a farm girl at heart. So, there's a lot of people who've been on my little journey. And yeah, I think that's what's been the most special thing to me, is having those people get in contact and just sharing that moment with them.
Unreal.
Well,
How about for you, Sharon?
So for me, like when you win, it's not for me. Like I just think of, oh, my parents are crying, or like, all right, they're going to be so proud. And then you get all the messages. And then all the messages started about the dogs and the We Rate Dog account. Like he has 1.3 million likes on a picture, like 20,000 comments. And then all those people start messaging me directly in my DM. And I think I'm still not halfway, but and they send like, thank you made us cry. And they send a picture of their dog who died recently. And it shows how much a dog can mean. And like, if you can't have children, that it can be your child, or like stuff like that. So I want to thank all those people. And I'm still getting back to you guys. And then, of course, I planned already 1.5 year, 1 year, a little bit of my future, that I'm going to have clinics with Ocean Man, or clinics in Mallorca, and clinics on the weekend in the Netherlands. Yeah. So I've been not treating my body well. That's why you hear my voice. I've been working. It was cold at the clinic. So and I got a lot of meetings every day also, just to try, do my story like today. Also good causes that like contacted me for shelter in China for dogs, and then like all types of things I want to do. But I didn't take a break yet, and I'm not going to, because this is my moment to build something as well. I'm taking a break. I'm not swimming and I'm not doing sports, but I want to do that. But swimming, I don't know when I'm going to start, or if I'm going to start. But yeah, in November, I'm invited in Tahiti. I have to be there for a race or look at a race, and I'm going to then take 10 days holiday. And the rest is just work. But yeah, there's a lot. I'm making programs. I need to make warm-up videos. I need to make stretching videos. I need to make technique videos for my people I'm coaching online already. And some people are going to start September. Well, September is in a few days. So there's tonight I'm giving a clinic for 50 people somewhere in a city. So for me, there's no rest. And then I have a house that the floor came, the kitchen came, the furniture. It's hectic. But I'm taking it in, and I'm doing it at all, because I just want to do it all at the moment.
Yeah, you've just finished the Olympics and gone and started doing everything. New house, move, clinics, camps, everything. And Moesha, you've gone back to New South Wales. on the farm, just enjoying the peace and quiet. So just
trying to enjoy the peace and quiet, but people still
Yeah.
keep finding me here. Yeah.
It's
I must say in my street as well, like this is a little village and they decorated my garden when I arrived and now everybody's passing. Congrats in the shops and like, but that's what I liked about it. So also this takes time, right? A neighbor comes, 15 minutes, another neighbor comes, 15 minutes.
I'm
And
feeling
there it
that
goes.
too. Yeah. As soon as someone starts saying hello, then everyone starts going, oh, who's that? Who's that? And then everyone starts saying hello. So yeah, sometimes I go out prepared and sometimes I just try and sneak out. But yeah, no, it's definitely been fun. Yeah.
Well, it was such an amazing race to watch. I enjoyed it so much, having sort of got to know you a bit, Sharon, and then Moesha, with you being an Aussie, like couldn't have been a better finish. And the fact that your friends had lived together, all of it just comes together to an amazing race, an amazing story. So I appreciate your time on the podcast and sharing it here. It's been great to chat with both of you. So thank you very much. And I know, Sharon, you've got a lot going on with the clinics and stuff like that. So for you, where would you like people to head if they want to get in touch with you in terms of coaching or clinics and those sorts of things?
So they can go to my email address. I'm making a website as well, but I want to make it come online when everything's ready, not just half of it. But they can go to Sharon Van Rouwendaal at gmail.com. And they can just write, like how old they are, where they're from, their level, and why they want to be coached by me. So the coaching by me is like they get 3 sessions a week and they get, like I said, the warming ups, the stretching, the technique videos. They can send voice messages after their swim to me about how it was. And then I make notes and then I prepare the next training for them. So yeah, they get 3 sessions a week. So they can contact me by Gmail and they get an answer sort of in a week, let's say, not in a day.
And we'll put that in our show notes as well. And how about for you, Moesha, for anyone who wants to get in touch, what's the best way to get in touch with you? If you want anyone getting in touch, or if you prefer to just
probably
stay on the
just,
phone.
through my Instagram, swimmer Mo, MOE. And then there's an email link there, or you can send me a message.
Excellent. Well, thank you both again. I love the chemistry between you two and the race strategy and just seeing you work together there. So yeah, thank you very much. I've really enjoyed the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.